terracige, which is what we're going to siphon off. When I prepared this bottle to make this terracige, I made a hole and then covered it up with some electrical tape. Electrical tape works really well for this. And then I added my ingredients and shook them all up. It just makes it a bit easier when it comes to doing the decanting if the hole is already there. So I'm just going to remove the tape. You may need to open up the hole again, but you may not. And once you've got it in the right position, you just loosen the lid and that releases the vacuum and it allows the terracige to flow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep a very close eye on the level of the liquid coming out, because this is my water layer here. And I need to watch that because I don't want any of that, or I don't want any of that water going into my terracige mix. So we'll just give it another couple of minutes, just for a second. So I can now see that my water line is there, which is just above where my where the hole is. So I'm now going to stop the flow. I'm going to close the lid. That stops it. Primarily stops the flow, and then I'm just going to use my tape to seal up the hole. Now, if you're going to be doing a fair amount of Saga firings or any other kind of firing which requires you to burnish your pots with terracige, keep the bottle because you can just reuse it over and over again. Just a note about the sludge: you cannot use the sludge for anything. Just dry it out and throw it away, put it in the red bin. So don't recycle it with your regular recycled clay. There is more terracige that I can collect from this batch, but for the purposes of the demonstration, I'm just going to continue with what I've got. So what I did earlier, I made up, this is a water and clay mixture. The water on its own will therefore weigh lighter than the terracige will, because this has got clay particles suspended in it. So what we're looking for a good terracige is to achieve, we're looking to achieve between 1.1 and 1.2. So in other words, that the terracige will measure between 10 and 20 grams heavier than water. Now, what I did earlier is I got myself a pottle and I measured 100 grams of water into this pottle, and I marked the level with an elastic band. So I put that now onto a scale. I tear the scale to make sure that I'm not including the weight of my pottle. Agitate the terracige to make sure that I've got all the particles evenly suspended, and then measure up to that line. So I'm not measuring by weight, I'm measuring up to that line that the water came to. And that's measuring 116.09 grams, which means that this mixture is about 16 grams heavier than just regular water, which is perfect. We're right in the range. If we wanted to add colorants, which are again a solid, which will add more particulate matter to the terracige, then we would need to have a higher water concentration so that your specific gravity would be lower, so that you can add more particulate matter. But for the purposes of the demonstration today, we have a product that is going to perform perfectly. If your terracige is too thick, there's a good chance that it will flake off during the firing process. When I've made up this terracige, I've used ball clay because it's more likely to be able to accommodate all sorts of different types of clay. But you can make terracige up from the clay body that you're making your pots out of. So if you're making pots of porcelain, just grind up some porcelain scraps and use those for making your Terra Sig.